usually very interesting and fruitful conversations. But I think it's interesting seeing certainly Concord. I would say Concord and Link have probably come the closest to sort of hitting the level cap, just mechanically speaking, in the game. Link probably more so than Concord. So it's been interesting to see like how potent or not in some instances the characters get, like when they're sort of like at this point they should just become adult heroes kind of thing. You know, you're really seeing, you know, Link kind of functioning at a second, another level, and Concord kind of, you know, Mike kind of going, well, I didn't expect we'd ever have to deal with Dr. Infinity, and kind of looking at his own character sheet going, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. It's just been kind of interesting seeing you guys, you know, once you get a couple of, you know, once you get the stat raises and the stats locked and things like that, there's some, I wouldn't call them sure shots, but there's certainly a lot of, really, you don't have as many, like, I don't know, young Spider-Man, young Spider-Man, like everything's going so well and now it all flips on its head kind of reversals.
Well, on that note, did you have a chance to read the Summer Heroic intro thing?
Loved it.
Okay. So yeah, she's failing like every other role, and it kind of worked out that way.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly mechanically, it's, you know, there's, just because of the way play has worked out, there's still some, I think some of the characters, it's not that Harry's dice are necessarily very bad, he just doesn't have the same numbers. So you get a lot more of that flip back and forth. Alicia's experiencing that a lot more than Jason was. It's not that Dave's dice have gone bad, it's just Alicia's doesn't have as many points as Jason as Jason did, and that kind of thing. So it's interesting seeing this contrast. With Summer, it's kind of, I don't want to say reset, but it's you see a lot more of that, and it's interesting to see the contrast. To see it's hard to remember Leo at the beginning, you know, versus Leo now. But it's to see them back to back, kind of like this. You see that. I don't want to say power level, but there is a contrast, certainly. I enjoyed the thing that you wrote up on Summer. That was really, it was just fun, and we don't necessarily need to take the whole thing as canon, but I do like the idea that she's been sort of, in her mind, semi-superheroing just during this intervening gap of time. I really I like that idea a lot. So other smaller things like this, where it's been like, you know, thwarting burglaries and other, you know, like sort of sideline machinations of Rook Tech and things like that works really well for me. So.
Yep. And a lot of that post also wasn't just here's you know, just some fun interlude, but it was hopefully like a good guide for how to handle her in play.
Yeah.
It's like, these are the sorts of outcomes and actions I want to see happen. And here's how mechanically they'd probably fall out.
Yeah. And it's a nice breakdown, sort of, you know, getting her handle on her powers. I don't think anything necessarily surprised me, but I hadn't thought about the idea of her having like Link's cables. So when she used that, I was like, oh yeah, of course. But it wouldn't, you know, I hadn't really thought about it at that point in time. So actually, since we're there and kind of talking about that a little bit, we got session 47, something like that. Let's talk Radiance, because we're doing, you know, everybody's sort of lost in time for a couple of sessions here because of weirdness. Not everybody, but some people. And we're bringing in our new hero, Summer Sky Newman, who's going to be Radiance, and talk to me about, like, if you had to give me the elevator to Stanley pitch for like her sort of abilities and stuff. We know her background. We know Summer's background. But what right now functionally is her sort of, you know, I've got to fight Rhino in the middle of Manhattan kind of power set?
So her toolkit is basically the same as Link's right now, minus all the accommodations and enhancements that he kind of picked up along the way.
Right.
So she's got this super durable body. She can fly. She's got the grappling hooks. Kind of these three things together are kind of what's driving her right now. She's going to be going through some power evolutions pretty soon, as she figures out who she wants to be and how to implement that. But for right now, she's using the body that Leo built her, and he builds bodies in a certain way with a certain set of tools.
Right.
And so she kind of inherited that by default.
Yeah, I didn't know if the light projection thing had become like had gotten like put into play yet, or if that was like a potential evolution down the road kind of thing, if where we were at on that.
That's a really near-term evolution, and I've got a plan for advancement. And pretty much the very first thing I want to take is the beacon drives. And one of the first beacon drives I don't want to take is you get a new costume.
Nice.
And so I want to kind of like showcase her like going through these changes of identity and figuring out who she is through that vehicle.
Super fun. So when we last left our heroes, and we're not. It's almost like a Farscape thing where we like do a flashback of the previous scene, but we're going to look at one of the characters. Everybody's lining up for the time jump, going back home, and the tunnels line up. And we don't see the whole thing with the big Dr. Infinity reaching down and grabbing the tube, but we do see is Concord and his mind kind of on, getting home. And then Sable Star sort of splashing through the sidewall of this tunnel in time and space and knocking him and her kind of out through the other side. Kind of with a shocked look from at least one other person there in the tunnel. But at that point in time, we lose track of what's going on with them because you've got your own. Concord's got his own craziness to deal with. So that is the other thing going on. I like the fact that our little session here is the Janus and the person that used to be the Janus. I think there's some fun parallels here. And Mike also sent me a bunch of stuff. Mike's been doing some thinking.
I am easily excited. That is all I'm going to say.
Bill comes up with lots of ideas that gets Mike's mind a churning. Oh, I like those. Yeah, he sent me some pictures and all kinds of fun stuff. So,
yeah. Before you got here, Mike said he was using his art for evil, so I'm tapping out.
I wouldn't say evil, but entertaining. Okay, so
I just wonder if Bill's going to get the references right away.
I don't know. I got to make sure I deliver the references. So if I'm missing a tag here, make sure you
oh no.
call me out on
the references. If you use the art, the references are going to be there.
Oh, really? Let me look at that again.
Yeah. You aren't a gamer, so I don't expect you to get it.
I'm not a gamer.
Hold on.
It got to be the right kind of game.
Yeah, I was about to say long form beat 'em up games.
Okay. No. I will say for the record, I love, and this is a stupid thing to be a fanboy of, I love the background you did.
I did too.
That is a really, really fun background. I need to
Oh no. I will geek out on my artwork there later, but
okay. We'll have ample opportunity to do that for sure.
I had help from friends on a lot of things, so
very nice. All right, I'm just going to save this so I have it someplace that makes sense to me, and that's going to be in the villains folder. Surprising no one. Oh no, I don't want to do that. We're going to change that name a little bit. Okie dokie. All right. So I don't know. Mundane picture from the wiki. Okay, so I was talking about that. I meant the human, the picture of the sort of inspirational. Uh, but no, that works very well for that picture works really well for summer. I was thinking of that the one you're using for your like the icon right now.
Oh yeah, I'll
Yeah,
get her up in a second.
yeah, that's cool. That was really I enjoyed going back through the music honestly too. It was a really good video. Um, okay, so I'm sure you guys well, depending on what your notification level is set to, I'm sure that you guys saw me or it's reasonably likely that you
I
guys
know.
saw me put up
I
the
know
love letters.
nothing about love letters.
I put up a love letter for each of you. They're different kinds of love letters. They're a little bit simpler, partly because my week has been continued to be crazy, but I realized I was really reinventing the wheel with Summers, and I didn't want to. It was just dumb. And with Concords, I actually went a way that Mike had suggested in the past, where it doesn't always have to be dice rolls; it could be choices. So that's kind of where I went with there. So I'm going to start off with the one for Summer, uh, which says, "Dear Summer, the menagerie has been gone for almost 2 weeks. You'd be freaked out, but you've been too busy to let things get that far. That said, with your semi-super moonlighting and all of your other commitments, things have been crazy. Make your secret identity move, and let's see how things are going." So that is referring specifically to the move that I realized I was totally reinventing over here under Summer's thing. The secret identity move, which is choose a total of 3 obligations, and when time passes, which has a number of meanings in our current context, roll your mundane to see how you're managing all your obligations. So, Summer. Rolls
And
an
I got an
11.
11.
God dang it. Always anything. When you're okay, roll an 11. On a hit, things are going pretty well. You have an opportunity or advantage thanks to one of your obligations. On a 7 and 9, you've lapsed on one obligation, your choice. On a miss, you haven't given your normal life anywhere near the attention it deserves. Blah, 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 blah. We don't have to worry about that. So what does it say? When on a hit, things are going pretty well. You have an opportunity or advantage thanks to one of your obligations. I can say that my late 20s, early 30s anime fan is immediately drawn to the idea of her being in a cooking club. But which do you think for her right now? Cooking club or the political activism group?
I threw Cooking Club in as a default because we had talked about like what the girls were doing as their extracurriculars. And I
Right.
think we were kind of vague about that, so I left that as a placeholder. But we had also talked about this other character who was like
Right.
this robot rights activist, and he would plug in under that slot.
Right.
So
I
wherever that,
I think I want to introduce that as he kind of becomes more active. Otherwise, starting her out already as sort of like active in that thing feels a little on the nose.
yeah,
Maybe?
I think we will get there as Alicia
Yeah.
warms up a little bit. So that leaves kind of jobs in school or jobs in social life. So the job sounds good as always.
Well, yeah, the job is great. The social, I like the idea of the ponies being in there, and we still want school. We're just going with the sort of the club thing. I'm fine with that too.
Okay,
Is
yeah,
she
let's
supposed
do
to have
that.
3? I mean,
Yeah, it says pick 3.
okay, so we're good with that. So an opportunity or advantage thanks to one of these obligations. Do. I'm thinking about this in the context of everything that's going on. And I kind of, so in the short story, in the sort of summertime story that you had shared, remind me again, somehow at the beginning of that story, Summer had sort of gotten wind of what was going on, the hijinks, the shenanigans with the looted tech via, it was Maury from the ponies had sent something to someone and you had sort of intercepted it or
So basically,
How
the,
did that
the
shake
pitch
out?
was that Maury said, forward this to Leo because Leo is out as a superhero. And
Right.
Summer was like, he's not here. I'll take the message.
Right.
And where it came from, like behind, going back along that chain, I left purposely vague, but it's kind of implied that like maybe somebody at the warehouse or maybe somebody who worked there got suspicious, took some photos on the side, but couldn't really act on it themselves due to like not wanting to lose their job,
Right.
or something along those lines. But it could be anything.
And Maury is a face certainly, and somebody that something like that could feel like they could dump to relatively anonymously. She's an activist, certainly privacy wise in terms of, well, not so much an activist as being I don't want to say not an activist as much as being like woke in terms of that kind of stuff, and whether she's like campaigning for digital privacy or not, which she certainly may be. She's certainly a fierce personal defender of it, so you feel like you safely go. And also, it's kind of known she's had some interaction with the menagerie. So it makes sense that somebody who has this stuff and thinks, well, Link doesn't like Rook, and Link is Leo, and Mari knows the both of them, and I know what her YouTube handle is, and I can send something there, and Mari knows No, and No knows Leo, and knows you, and I can't seem to get a message to Leo, so I'll dump it on Summer, because if he's gone into Inventor's hiding, then she can at least get it to him or something like that.
So, I mean, if you want to explain how this works, just get Michael Pena to do an Ant-Man scene where he's telling us this chain of gossip.
Yes, I need to see that. I still haven't seen the movie, and I'm dying a little bit inside every time I remember.
I haven't seen it either, Joyce, so don't feel bad.
I will say for the record that I have been saying for well over a year that I thought Michael Pena should have been the way that the Infinity Gauntlet opened. Like, he should have summarized the previous 10 years of Marvel movies before they went into the rest of the Infinity Gauntlet. I think that would have actually been perfect.
No, man, that's the start of Infinity Wars Part 2.
There you go. Is have him do it. I really think, I honestly think, he should replace Morgan Freeman for all narration purposes in all film. It's really, really good. So I look forward to seeing that in the movie. I may even have some sort of slight hope that we'll be able to see it when we go out to Comic-Con this week, if we just decide we want to have like a little bit of easy downtime, go and catch the movie someplace, but haven't had a chance to see it yet. Anyway, but yeah, that weird chain of events, guy tells another guy, this guy's like, what? And, all that kind of stuff. Honestly, it could almost be No kind of like going this whole chain of command, this whole chain of thing. So we're looping back to the original move. I'm thinking about the way, since you're handling all this stuff, some opportunity that has arisen from that. And the one that immediately presents itself to me is the idea that you've, because your armor can, I know some of the stuff you said, there's like up close, you're not going to be mistaken for Link, but you could easily be mistaken for Arya, or some other Newman person, or costume change for Numa, or who knows what.
And I threw in the thing where like the cops were just like, "Hey, Leo," or hey, emphasizing that like a mistake could still be made. So I think there's some wiggle room, but she could look like.
So the idea here, though, is a little bit more subtle than that, in that you could have, as if we decide to go with this as your opportunity, you could have created the illusion that Link is basically 90% in hiding and just coming out, kick a little bit of ass, and then go back to the inventing, and thus created the illusion that he's still around, and also the illusion that if you get it to me, I'll get it to him, and you're actually just acting on it. So that opportunity is that you've sort of created a funnel whereby this information is coming to you that you can act on while still remaining pretty much undercover under the guise of the other, like, actual menagerie.
So I'm the Laura Holt for Remington Steele.
Sure. That's a little old school, but I'll go
Wow,
with
you
that.
pulled that one out of nowhere.
Wow, I just sure. Um, but yeah, I mean, if that, but like I said, there's a number of I mean, you've got these three different areas, and it creates some sort of opportunity, something you can sort of, I don't want to say take advantage of in a mercenary way, but something that, benefits you in some way. So that's one option. You have anything else that pops up in your head as far as a,
I really like that. Like she's kind of holding up like the honor of the team and just making sure like the team seems like it's still in the city and the city can have confidence in them. Not that they just like ran off somewhere for their own personal reasons, which they kind of did. So
yeah.
I'm very fond of that. Yeah.
It reminds me, it reminds me of something that I can't quite put my finger on, but I'm getting a little sense of a deja vu, somewhat more obviously, the beginning middle of the beginning of the second season of Young Justice, where the big six are off planet and they've got Captain Atom doing press conferences, and Martian Manhunter and Superman are kind of hovering in the air, well back behind from the cameras, because it's actually Miss Martian shapeshifted to look like her Uncle John, and she's levitating Superboy so that it looks like, while he wears a Superman costume, so that it looks like he's flying back. It's sort of, like, we're all here, everything's fine, all the authority is still in place, nobody freak out. But a little even more surreptitious than that. Probably, I'm sure somebody who's really into it from back in the day could talk about, like, yeah, when somebody sort of pretended to be Batman while Batman was either dead or presumed dead or his back was broken or something like that, and just tried to, continue the illusion that he's still out on the streets.
The animated series did that. They put Superman in the costume and had
Right.
him go after Bane. And Bane was like, nope.
Nope. Nope. Actually, there's a lovely, and I'm mentioning this primarily for Mike. There's a lovely Batman Brave and the Bold episode where Batman is sick. He's got a bad something. It's basically he's got the flu, but it's because he like took a spore bag in the face or something like that on an alien planet. And all of the superheroes. So it's Green Arrow, hilariously Plastic Man, Aquaman, and I feel like there was another one. All try to be Batman and cover for him while he's out.
Oh God.
Do you remember that? I mean, I can't remember who the fourth person was. There was another one. I can't remember who.
It was Green Arrow, I think.
It was Green Arrow, Aquaman, Plastic Man. I think there was another one. It doesn't matter. Anyway, but they're all like trying to be Batman, and they're all like having their encounters going, how does he do this by himself every night? This is exhausting. And it's three of them. Anyway. Lovely episode. Totally worth it. The Night of 1,000 Batmen or something like that is what it's called. It's very good stuff.
Yeah, it's the Night of 1,000 Batman. How did you get that?
Anyway. All right. So that was the one love letter. So that's kind of going on, and so Summer is nicely handling everything, going to school. I'm gonna loop back to that and ask a little bit about, without any other family members to contact, like the teachers sort of reaching out to Summer, like, where's your sister, that kind of thing. But kind of handling everything and also kind of funneling things and sort of handling that. Concord.
Yes.
You have a thing, and your thing says.
I have a thing.
You have a thing here, and your thing says. I'm gonna get the link up here properly. You're tumbling through the scintillating rainbow hellscape of time and space. Are you extending the vast collapsing star of your power upon the chaos of the universe, or is your heart and mind focused solely on the family your other self lost? Your family that your other self lost in the alternate future that you just left. So you're thinking more about home or upon, extending your will upon the chaos of the universe as you tumble through it?
So, I think I'm gonna answer one, and I'm going to recontextualize slightly.
Okay, that's entirely fair.
But I think it is his heart is still like heavy with the thought of, oh man, that could have been my parents. That could have been my family that went through that. I don't even really know what happened, but it doesn't sound good. And like,
The fact that there's any reality where fundamentally bad stuff happened to your family is a bummer.
so like when he was getting into that ship, and when he was getting into Phoenix, or however we were coming back, he was just like, ugh. As soon as I get home, I'm giving everybody a big hug.
And that's kind of when the hit happens, and Kaylee's in the other room. I love Concord so much. Um, is that still where a good portion of his mind really stays as the
Yes.
tumbling through space happens? Yes?
Um.
Because it provides a convenient focal point. Because there's really two ways you can go with this. Is I am going to. I'm sure this is another scene out of. Stephen Brust wrote a book called Terrain in Hell, and there's it's an interesting book, but there's a bit in there where you kind of like amidst the chaos of the universe, you put down your foot, and where your foot comes down, there is solid ground. So and it continues like that as you build the world around you by simply needing there to be world where you are. Um, there's kind of two. I'm going to choose to say there's two different ways to kind of approach this, where you can say I will make an island of order around me and calm the seas of chaos, where I am. Or instead you say I'm discarding this and extending my will towards this distant point of light in my emotional horizon line and going there. So either way, it's really you extending your power and your will. But it's a question of what does that look like, and what effect does that have on the world or worlds around you. And it sounds more like you're saying, this is all craziness around here. I just want to get home, or I primarily at least want to get home and back to my
Yes.
family and that kind of thing.
That sounds
Yeah.
best.
It's not so much like, no, we're going to get everything nice and leveled out here first, and then I will proceed in all my glory back. No, it's none of that nonsense. It's, I'm going to make do with what I got. Okay. Um, so we know what's going on with you, and your perception of this, because it is a maelstrom. It is, I mean, certainly Concord is powerful, but at the same time, this is all of time and space in a maelstrom, bound into an infinite, thimble. And which is to say, there's a lot to keep track of, no matter how much power you've got. You, having been kicked out of the tunnel, sort of unintentionally construct your own and proceed with all of your focus really toward home. And in the process of all this stuff happening, and really all of the rest of this crazy, vaguely pink tinged nuttiness around you, remaining largely unaffected by anything that you're doing, because you're just basically tunneling a pinhole right through all this stuff, you get the sense of Sablestar kind of falling off your perceptual radar, falling behind, falling away, something. You're ahead. You're moving with a focus and a purpose towards this thing, and that's how that shakes out. Summer. You'd mentioned in some of the stuff that you were doing there, kind of talk to me about Quill Industries, and that because it looked like again, we're not trying to make it canon, but it looks like there's been some reaching out to Jason, or is it Summer taking advantage of the fact that Jason basically gave you carte blanche, whether he's around or not, to here are the passcodes for 90% of all the important bits, so you can go and rummage around the warehouse or use the fabricators if need be, kind of thing? Or are you actually are you going back there with his knowledge, like between bits of heroism and stuff like that? I think it sounded like that was a little bit of what was happening, but I was curious as to whether or not it was sort of like on Jason's radar or not.
So I kind of left it loose so that like Dave could fine tune or override if he wanted. But in the issue 27 to 31 time frame, Jason was talking about, I'm retiring from the team.
Right.
I'm going to use my dad's warehouse full of stuff to go make the world a better place. Summer was very, very much in favor of this outcome for him.
Right.
She wanted him to have like this positive transformative life experience. She wanted to support him doing that however possible. And one of the things that Jason had also pitched was, hey, how about I go sponsor or help equip some of the city's super teams?
Right.
And so what I had pitched as an idea was, what if she's like the pilot candidate for this program as a way of helping him out and being supportive of him?
Right.
And so my kind of assumption is that like she's basically doing that.
I don't know if that's necessarily, if we've gotten quite that far yet, although if the conversation ever come up, he might have. What I was thinking, because you guys had like talked about it and maybe it didn't go anywhere, because Jason's been sort of, we've kind of established that Jason's been running about a much like, at a corporate level, he's been doing a lot of like scrambling amongst the traces that are holding the Coach and Four's, runaway horses in place, trying to get, fish the reins up off the ground before the whole plane runs off the cliff. And he's been kind of busy doing that and is just about ready to settle back into the seat with reins in hand and pull the whole thing, to the side before it goes tumbling off the cliff. But he's been a bit busy. So while the preliminary talk about this and a lot of excited like chat over coffee thing goes, yeah, we definitely need to do that, and then he sort of disappears to Washington for a week, and then
so she might just have the house keys basically.
Right. And Jason is definitely, now this paints things in a bit inaccurate light, but Jason is definitely the kind of guy that, had he ever given the garage 4-digit passcode to an ex-girlfriend, but they parted ways amicably, he wouldn't have gone back and changed the code because she may need a place to crash. Which is to say, if at any point Jason ever gave Summer access to stuff, and we know that he did, he wouldn't have, there's no point in this timeline, I think, where he would have ever gotten, like, rescinded it, or even it, and I say partly because he hadn't gotten around to it, but also because even if he had thought about it, he wouldn't have. Simply because of a fondness for Summer and the off chance that she might need it, and never ever in a million zillion years wanting to try to have the conversation about, I thought I had the codes, and him having to explain why she doesn't, because that just sounds awkward and painful. So I know during the process of them like working on her original body and her later like getting the two to kind of, when the briefcase was dropped off and she was sort of working on it and stuff like that, I know that she got access to, again, like I said, like sort of 90% of the stuff.
Yeah.
She still does.
All that said, she's going to try to make minimal use of it unless it's like on official business, because she's trying to be sensitive to Alicia. And so that is kind of keeping her away unless like she really needs access.
Like this has pulled an entire shoulder plate off, and I can't go back to normal form until I get that fixed enough that it'll actually flip properly, kind of.
Yeah, she wants like airtight alibis for like why I'm here, what I'm doing, and when I'm going to leave, just so that Jason and Alicia can both be comfortable. Whether they get back together or not, like she's not trying to make that happen, but she still wants to not be an impediment.
I am giving myself precisely from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. And I'm making sure that I only, punch in and punch out in the warehouse and fabrication shop, and I'm never anywhere near the private quarters, even though he's in Washington at the time. Because again, don't need that kind of complication. So we'll say that, you know, he wouldn't be upset that she was here, but he doesn't necessarily know about it either at this point. Because I feel like he would be compelled to dust off the tights or something. Also, the complication of trying to explain to him where she thinks they probably went would also probably be a whole extra conversation. So that's been happening. So she's been in extremis, almost just ducking into the Quill complex when absolutely necessary for, like, you know, short-term repairs, things like that. She's been getting menagerie pointed stuff funneled to her by sort of half pretending she's passing it on to Leo. And I think I want to get, what's the name of that the cyborg instructor at Gardner University? What is her name?
You broke up for about 20 seconds there.
Sorry. What is the name of the Gardner cyborg professor?
Gyro.
Gyro. I kind of want. Okay, so she's not. Yeah, let me get Gyro up here. Right. So Leo's in a class with her, or is she simply evaluating him on the sly? I remember that that Gyro and one of the other professors were talking about him. Was he in her class?
I'm going to say yeah, because one of the things that she teaches is metahuman ethics, and recent events certainly will drive him there if he wasn't there already.
Right.
But I think that topic is very much of interest to Leo, so he would have dropped in on that class.
I mean, honestly, the school would have certainly encouraged him, since he just before the semester started really kind of went public. So suggesting that as if nothing else, as an audit. If he doesn't want to take on the extra class, well, at least doing it as an audit would have been recommended, encouraged. So I think probably. I think probably in study hall, some sort of like open time slot in class, you know, probably about a weekend, I would say a week and a half in to everybody's absence. Summer would have gotten an email from the teacher saying to drop by her classroom at her earliest convenience, at your earliest convenience. Rather than have, realizing you don't have a class, I don't know what your schedule is, when you have a moment, if you could please stop by. And that wouldn't necessarily have been, actually, it probably would have come in late at night, well outside of school hours, and it's, schedules being what they are, and Summer's time being what it is, it probably isn't until study hall or some free period or something like that you could really do anything about it necessarily, or it could be right before school or something like that. What does that look like? Does she do anything about it, and if so, what? And when does this happen?
Oh yeah, she will drop by as soon as possible, like early morning if that works. That would be her preference. Any other time would be fine too, but this is like when a teacher says come see me, like she would try very hard to do
Well,
that.
early morning isn't a problem. So you come in, and basically as soon as the doors are open up and the light is already on, you can see from outside the building that the light is already on in her classroom. She's there quite early. She didn't. No incredibly creepy like come in somewhere with her back still turned kind of thing. But when she does turn in, you see her, kind of eyes kind of dilate for a second, refocus. Pause for a second while she sort of processes the fact that you're there. And she said, "Please come in, Summer. Have a seat if you like. I hope you don't mind if I continue to prepare for my first class."
Oh, sure. What can I do for you?
Well, the school has certain policies in place when it comes to emancipated minors and that sort of thing, but I have my own personal policies when it comes to members of my class due to the nature of the courses that I teach. And if you feel that my questioning is inappropriate, please say so or act as you feel is appropriate. But I was concerned about Leo, your friend Leo's recent absence, and also the absence of what I can only assume are his teammates, such as Harry Gale, as aka Mercury, and possibly others, such as your sister. And I just wanted to know if there was any alerts that need to be sent to any authorities or anything that needs to be done. Sometimes I have absolute respect for your friend's capabilities and mental capacity and even emotional maturity, but sometimes it can be very difficult if you have no authority figure to turn to when things go unexpectedly. And I thought I should offer my help if such a thing was necessary or required or needed.
I think that's wonderful. Thank you. I'm
She frowned
quite
slightly at that, like, no, you didn't understand what I was saying, but doesn't say anything about it. It's just like, I didn't say that correctly, because she's thanking me for being wonderful, and that wasn't what I was doing. But carry on,
I'm quite positive that that, for example, Aegis is probably well aware of where Leo might be right now, and anybody who's with him. I think they should know. So I think they're doing okay. Like, did you have anybody else in mind?
Her expression goes studiously neutral when Aegis is mentioned. Blank, almost like the signal to facial muscles has just been like, no, let's just disconnect right now. I'd rather send no signals than any of the signals that could potentially be going. I didn't have anything in mind. He doesn't strike me as the sort of person who would, in fact, neither he nor your sister strike me as the sort of person who would have such a long absence without some sort of notification to the school administrator, and I have not received any such forwarded messages from the administrator for the classes that I would be affected by. So it seems to me that if he is the sort of person to send such notifications and none have been sent for such a long time, that he may be unable to do that. And it could simply be that I have misapprehended the situation.
I don't think that anybody expected to be gone this long and just may not have thought to send that.
I see. Very well. If you have no concerns, then I will take that as an expert opinion on the subject.
Some are sitting here thinking, I have a lot of concerns.
Yeah,
but she's not going to say anything.
she's being, well, yeah, and boundless optimism is not necessarily an obfuscation power that Gyro has any ability to see through. So she'll take that as if the situation changes or your assessment of the situation changes, please don't feel as though you have no recourse. You do. Very well.
I understand. I just want to also say that your class and these other classes that Leo's attending are really important to him. He's not just going to run off because graduating with a good grade is really vital to him in his future. Wow, I can't even tell you how much.
I believe you, but at the same time, that seems to be contrary evidence to the other facts that I have seen, and your opinion that everything is fine. Something to keep in mind, perhaps.
Yes, ma'am.
You say it's important to him, and you say he's fine, but if it were important to him, he would have done something, or things aren't fine. So something isn't true in all of the stuff that is being said. Which is
I would characterize it more accurately then is maybe things aren't fine, but I have confidence things will work out.
That is only fair. Certainly, Mr. Snow has proven himself to be quite resourceful.
Hey, Bill. Would you say you're trying to provoke her into dropping the issue?
It feels like it's kind of on that way anyway. But yeah, Summer's doing her best to be neutral about this and just not leave any breadcrumbs for this conversation to follow further. She's like,
she doesn't feel as though she really doesn't feel as though she's been very convinced. Because obviously it's teacher. It's very easy to go, I know better, and I think this is serious. And the fact that you have confidence in your also teenage friends does not necessarily mean that I have confidence. And she certainly has the potential to raise a lot of red flags and stuff with the school or Aegis or any of that other kind of stuff. So you could certainly, if you really want to throw a convincing argument out of here and logic bomb her, then I think a provoke is definitely called for. And the logic bomb certainly falls well under the label that a provoke would come to.
Oh, that's fair. Well, Summer will try to pitch it like this then. So he's not just a student; he's also a superhero, and sometimes they get into situations that they can't anticipate, and maybe that they can't signal us from, even though they would like to let us know how things are going. And I think that there's not necessarily anything we can do about that except kind of trust them. Like I'm trusting him. If there's any specific questions that I can answer for you, I will. But I don't know that much. So I feel kind of stuck, honestly. If you have something really specific to ask, but I will do what I can.
Sorry, I was talking and my mic was up. I like everything you're saying here because depending on how the provoke actually goes, that can either be a good argument or completely punch holes in her in Summer's argument, depending on kind of how the provoke goes. Because there's a lot of like, I trust him and he's good at this and he's a superhero, but I'm just kind of trusting him and it could be totally, and I have no real proof of any of this. So it's really kind of what she decides to listen to out of all this.
Well, there's your provoke.
There's my provoke. And oh dear. Okay. Okay. When you it's up to you where it's you're trying to get them to do and roll superior. For NPCs. Okay. All right. Take a look here. I really do want to say, as the GM, I really appreciate the material there because it can go so many different ways. Oh, this is a bit okay. She gives like, I mean, she doesn't exactly teach rhetoric. She's teaching the morality of superheroics kind of class. Logical arguments and poking holes in assumptions and that sort of thing is sort of her bread and butter. Especially as it pertains to superheroics, which is a bit of what you're talking about right now. She gives you a pretty narrowed-eyed, hard look at this because from her point of view, the logic here doesn't hold up. He's good at this because he's a superhero, and sometimes that means that he doesn't have any control over what he's able to do. And as a result of that, I trust him, is what she's hearing. That's not obviously that there's many different ways you could slice that, but she's slicing it that way. So she gives you this kind of hard, like, that wouldn't even get you a C as the thesis for a paper in my class kind of look, and says, I appreciate that you have an affection for your friends and your family, but you really must, when the situation calls for it and hard decisions are called for, be dispassionate and look at the situation objectively rather than subjectively. Optimism is all very well and good up to a point, but a light requires focus to be effective. And she is going to attempt to shift your labels with those words. She wants to shift your superior up and your mundane down, unless you choose to push back on that, which I am totally fine with. Yeah. Okay. So more brain, less heart. She will also be bringing her concerns back to the front office, but that's kind of off camera at that point, just as a added tangle complication kind of thing that's going on. But initially,
no, that's fair.
Yeah.
And Summer, meanwhile, sitting here like rifling through alternative explanations. She's like, I could have said this. Like,
yeah,
like they eloped. They're in the Bahamas.
Yeah. I could have lied. Why didn't I lie?
I'm sorry. That one phrase is just making me laugh so much.
Which
could have
one?
lied. Why didn't I lie?
Why didn't I lie? There is the book series that the Expanse is based on. The sci-fi television series. It's not sci-fi anymore, but whatever. It's a wonderful series if you like hard sci-fi. I enjoy it quite a bit. But there's a character in there named Amos, who's a mechanic, but also kind of a, I want to make sure I get the words right. Psychopath. Sociopath. He's a high functioning sociopath who really doesn't understand like regular human like emotions very well, but he's decided who his tribe is, and it's a relatively small group of people, and since he doesn't know what a good action is or what a righteous action is or any of that sort of thing, but he's able to identify who in his small group of people, his tribe, makes those kinds of decisions and consistently picks the right thing or the good thing. And they're different people. Like this person does the good stuff, this person does the emotional stuff, this guy does the righteous stuff. So when he's trying to pick something and he doesn't want people to realize that he's a sociopath, he goes, well, you know, what would this guy do? And he basically does that. He doesn't really understand why it's the right thing. He just does it. And I'm struck to a certain extent by Summer, the idea of Summer going, okay, I need to be ruthless here. What would Alicia do? Okay, I'm going to do that. Because I would never come to this conclusion on my own, but if I can think of I need to vacillate and not be able to come to a decision here. What would Jason do in this situation? I don't know.
There's going to be a lot of that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but just the idea afterwards of like Alicia would have totally had a cover story for that. Why didn't I lie? I could have lied. And another voice in your head going, "No, you can't. You can't. You're bad at it." Maybe I wouldn't be. I don't know. You only don't know because you've never done it. Anyway. Not going to give her multiple personality disorder. I'm just saying, it's kind of funny for her to like. Critique herself afterwards.
On that note, I will pitch you guys an idea, and you can tell me ahead of time if you think the rest of the group would find it interesting. I thought it would be kind of neat because Summer listens to her feelings a lot. If at any moment when the other players had an idea for, and here's how this could go off the rails, or here's this thing you could do, or that you've been overlooking, that they could jump in Greek chorus style and speak for her feelings.
Have her feelings be a Greek chorus? I kind of like that. I mean, I kind of like that.
That's very Geist of you.
I haven't watched that or read that.
I was about to say, I must be the only World of Darkness player.
Yeah, I didn't get in far enough into that. Very limited World of Darkness play. Once upon a time, back in college. Everybody out there was a couple people who sort of like called dibs on World of Darkness, sort of. So I never ended up GMing it, and I hardly ever played anything. Since I wasn't GMing it, I never encountered it very much because other people were running it. All right, so that's happening. You've got your info funneling to you, and you've got your little bolt hole emergency repairs kind of thing that you're taking advantage of. Meanwhile, Concord.
Oh no.
So I think I'm going to open this bit up by actually having you roll Unleash Your Powers. Just a regular Unleash Your Powers. Ooh, you drew him with a sword now. I didn't see the full blown up version. Love it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have another one with him with a shield, but I never actually exported as a ping.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay.
All right.
So I'm going to have him unleash his powers here and just kind of see how this landing happens. Also, Summer, obviously, take potential. Ooh, look at you with your, god dang, is that boxcars? Very nearly.
No.
How'd you get
it's very. I had a +1 forward from the from my team move from last time.
Nice.
Thanks, JC.
Okay. So, focusing on your family, since you have the 13 here, tell me the where and how and when. When is still going to be shifted somewhat forward, because again, you did get tumbled out of this time tunnel kind of thing. So some of that is definitely going to be, I don't mean specifically like what day or anything like that, but like time of day or night.
Oh no, I already have this in mind.
So when, where, and how do you arrive back home?
So it is, this can be like weekend or like afternoonish or something along that line, but
let's go with afternoonish because I want to kind of put you in the same basic time frame as Summer.
Oh but it is afternoonish, and at the insert park here, uh, Adam's parents have taken Jordan out to the park to go play to get her mind off of like any sort of thought of where's my brother and that sort of stuff.
Okay. All right, and you arrive at the park?
Yes.
Okay. So Jordan's like 4 or 5, 6, somewhere in there. Okay, so it's
Kindergarten-ish
yeah,
age.
probably basically a regular park.
Yeah.
Not like amusement park kind of thing, but any kind of park would do for a sufficient amount of time. Is this kind of a blast of light and you're standing on the ground thing, or a big flash and you're in the air over the park?
I would go, flash and in the air, and probably just sort of like slightly tumbling, and just it's that sort of like two backflips and then kind of coming to a halt, sort of like, where did I just go?
So the pinprick kind of tunnel that you managed to create for yourself kind of opens in the sky, and you really kind of come rolling out of it, or rolling in an airplane sense, but sort of tumbling out of it and pull yourself to a stop kind of up in the air. I'm just wondering if there's a bit of a aerial metaphysical kind of phenomena thing, or if he just kind of appears.
Oh, hell yeah. There's probably like a flash of light. He comes out in like one of his green and red tinged bubbles.
So there's a moment there where people see a thing happening in the sky and they're all like, "Oh, what the heck?" And then you're out there and aware. So it is a big public park. It's mostly parents and kids. You get the occasional bicyclist going by. Oh no, it's January, January. So it's but it's a warm day.
We're forward a couple of weeks. It's February, man.
Okay, so yeah, early February. Still a pretty cold air, but we're talking about North Carolina, so it's not cold. Cold enough though. But it's a warm enough day, certainly, that out and about. There's some kids in the park, not a ton. So you kind of tumble aside, really just kind of taking your bearings. First seeing that city skyline because you're up in the air, and verifying that the city skyline is all there.
Okay,
And
not a whole lot of giant glowy R's.
Yep.
Not a whole lot of neon.
Not on fire.
Not probably right time.
Yes. So you're seeing that and really processing that, and I'm just taking off some of the glowing R's since we're done with that part. And I do like the idea of the R and the Q being on the tombstones. That was pretty good.
This death brought to you by Ripcore.
Ripcore. How long is it before the murmurs and the pointing and the kids kind of going, "Hey, look, it's," but the kids kind of shouting from below and kind of stuff actually draws your attention down enough to like look down and look at the park where you are after the sort of panicked, "Is the world on fire?" double check.
Oh, it's probably pretty quick. I mean, this is Concord. He is easily distracted.
Okay, so you look down and you see the first thing you spot, because it's a motion thing, and human eyes being what they are, you spot the motion first, is you spot the familiar motion of your sister jumping up and down, because nobody quite jumps up and down like Jordan Amari. And she's jumping up and down and pointing and looking super happy and looking back over and looking back over her shoulder and pointing some more, and then runs over and points. And she's doing that thing that they do at that age where they tell you, "Hey, look at this thing," and you're not immediately losing your own damn mind, so you must not have heard them. So she's repeating herself and going closer and running over to mom and dad and pointing out. And she's pointing and smiling and laughing and thinking it's really awesome and cool. And your parents are looking up at you when you finally track over to them. And they are, your dad's just looking at you. Like his daughter has pointed out a small Cessna aircraft that's, circling around. And of course it is. It's not remarkable because A, it's just an airplane, and B, we're near the private, we're near the small airfield, on the edge of town. So it's completely unremarkable. I am simply looking up out of deference to my daughter so she stops telling me to look up. His expression is completely blank. Devoid of any particular kind of emotion or anything like that. Your mom is a mixture of anger and just you wait till you get home, mister, and absolute knee-watering relief. It's a very complex emotional mix that I am actually not remotely convinced Adam could really parse all the way. Now, maybe Concord's super omni universal truth vision might be able to pull all that stuff apart and list it all. But Adam, mom's upset might be as far as that goes.
The concordance has a 28-syllable word for this particular emotion.
Sounds accurate.
And Adam's word for this emotion is basically like, oh crap.
Oh crap.
As a single word. Danger, Will Robinson. That kind of thing. What do you do?
I feel like there is this like awkward sort of like all these people like looking up at Concord, and he's just like sort of like, hey, nothing to worry about, and just like a furtive look down at his parents. It's like, that sort of like slack-jawed, I have no idea what's going on right now.
And all the kids most of the kids, the younger kids that are playing and stuff like that, are jumping down, up and down, and waving like, "Look at me! Shoot the t-shirt gun my direction!" Kind of, trying to get your attention, sort of thing. Jordan really being no exception.
Oh yeah.
So you kind of a furtive wave, continued wave your way. Then what?
Then it's sort of like start to fly off so I can turn back into Adam at some point and
get back home
and get yelled at.
Okay. So where do you like, how far away? You're probably this is a sort of a special park treat, because this is, kind of colder weather. It's further away than just like the closest walking park that's a little bit familiar and less cool and fun for Jordan. So this is, during the summer, this would be a long walk kind of park, or ride your bike with the stabilizers kind of park. It's that far enough away. They probably drove here given the time of year, and it's maybe a mile and a half from the house kind of thing. Do you go to the house? Do you go someplace else and then?
Oh no, this is probably like set down as close as possible, somewhere out of sight, and sort of turn back so I can pull out the cell phone before they start calling.
Yes.
To be like,
the cell phone, after about a minute, actually not long after you start pulling away from the park, starts vibrating and doesn't stop for about, not a ring, it's like a continuous series of text and message notifications as it starts to get caught up on, you're not sure how long, but certainly more than a few hours worth of message updates as the phone starts to get caught up.
You do not understand this family. thousands probably.
Well, yeah, definitely
It's
that.
probably that. There's probably that point where they just stop delivering messages. It's like mailbox full.
And there's other. I mean, conveniently, your text messages are set up in such a way that they're sort of parsed by sender. So you probably have about 120 from your dad. You have about, actually, I take that back. You probably have about 20 from your dad. You have a number of voicemail messages. From him. He's the only one who's left voicemail. Your mom, there's a flurry of hers from about 10 days ago. And then no more after that.
So
and you're like, how long is that? And you're checking the date like, oh shit, it's been 10 days.
yeah.
There's like one from Jordan from about 8 days ago. That's like, she's got, you know, I don't know what we think. She doesn't have a phone. She has like your mom's old iPhone 4 with only Wi-Fi, and they put Snapchat on so she could send you annoying pictures.
Sounds
And
accurate.
videos, and she wanted the puppy filters and stuff like that for her faces and stuff like that. And you have like a Snapchat from her. You have like 47 messages from Carrie. Like 3 from Jason and about 5 or 6 from Summer, but only fairly recently, like within the last 4 or 5 days or so. There's been like 3. Is Concord public at this point? You know, he's not public. He's not public. No, he's not public.
His parents would never agree to that.
No, his parents would never agree to that. He's not public. But I'm trying to remember if anybody outside of Carrie has got your, like, and the menagerie has got like your, like if any of the ponies have your contact information. I don't think they do.
No.
There would have been some adding at you on social media, like you've got like notifications that people have been adding at you on Twitter or whatever, but
they tried, I'm sure, but
yeah, there may have been some DMs on Twitter, which is probably about as close to a private messaging capability. If anybody there has like private, but I don't know that Concord necessarily or Adam would have necessarily even conceded to that, as far as like allowing them, well, I guess if you're both following each other, then maybe there could be DMs back and forth. So there may have been a few of those, but those are very, very few. Nobody's been in the habit of like, I'm wondering about, I need an answer about what the menagerie is up to. Like going to Concord for that answer is just not where things go.
That will never get you the answer you're looking for. But no, I you know what?
And
Jason
you're watching,
has some like Jason has some like international business conglomerate. I am sure there is like an at menagerie that gets,
sure,
that Adam can log into to
sure.
get bothered by ponies remotely.
And while you're looking, you see that a text message has come in from your dad, which there hasn't been a new one in the last 2 days from him. And you can see that there is a new text message comes in from your dad while you're looking at your phone and kind of like coming down someplace where you can shift back to normal. And that one says, skipping all the other ones and just skipping to looking at the most recent one, Jordan is thrilled to have been caught up on the calendar and reminded that you're finally back from your school field trip to DC. And that you should be waiting at home by the time we get back from the park.
Yeah, there's gonna be like one back is like, I'll be there and I will tell you all about it then.
Yes. That's all he answers is yes.
Uh,
So you've been given some inkling of
excuse.
you've been given an understanding as to what the cover story was for your sister. So um, anyway, do you do anything before you head home?
I would say, um, let's see. Ah, so right now,
Hmm.
Adam has no idea, uh, basically where anyone is.
Right. You
Um,
know that the go back, leave and come back at exactly the same time is certainly gone completely legs up.
yep.
Um, Clearly. You do not have any text messages from any of the other members of the team. Do you send out any messages to them just to see if they're still looking at their queue getting filled back up or anything of that nature?
Um, we'll go. Yeah, he will. But I think he's also going to message Summer to just be like, yeah, have you heard from Leo or anybody?
Okay. All right. Are you walking while you do these texts or anything like that? And is there
Oh
anybody
yeah, it's
else you
probably
send
like
messages to?
landed on a roof somewhere. Like took a look someplace for a nice little secluded alley,
Uh-huh.
and then like blipped down to there, turned back into Adam really quick, and now it's like, you know, power walking through the streets, not really paying attention to what's around him.
Okay, so you send out message to everybody, shoot one off to Summer. Do you send message to anybody else or do anything else?
Um, yeah, it's like, shoot one over to like at group to the team is like, where did you guys wind up?
Okay.
And then
There's
one
no
over to Summer is,
certainly no immediate response there.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, so Summer, your phone buzzes in your pocket. Um, and I don't know that you would be getting regular text messages from anybody really right now with everybody kind of out. Maybe no.
Yeah, like
Uh,
she explicitly asked for phone numbers from the ponies and coworkers and things like that.
right, but
So
in
she
the
has a reasonable social circle, but yeah.
right middle of the school, I'm just wondering if you get a message if it's the sort of thing that you like surreptitiously, glance at in the middle of
Oh,
class or whatever.
oh yeah, because like if these people come back, surprisingly, this is how they would reach her. So of course she's going to pay attention to that.
Right.
So
So
yeah.
yeah, it is uh, almost against, your expectations or you've been schooling yourself against expecting this kind of thing. It's actually a message from Concord, from Adam saying, has anybody else back gotten in touch with
No,
you?
no, are they not with you?
Um, what's the what's the best way to say? Got tackled out of time.
I
What
like
day is? Or yeah,
there's
just
like
figuring out what day it is.
there's like a minute and a half of Concord is typing or Adam is typing or something like that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
while he tries to figure out how to say, we got split up in the least, you know, terrifying way. So what actually finally comes across in the message? What do you finally settle on as your when you
Yeah,
hit
got
send?
knocked out of time, or got tackled out of time.
Summer?
Well, he's going to get like like an elbow and clock and poo emoji in rapid succession. Because how else can you respond to that?
The worst part is, anyone else, this would be weird.
Anybody else but who? Summer?
Concord.
Oh. I mean, I guess. So yeah, she just sends you a series of emojis in response to that somewhat unhelpful and uninformative text. You're probably about, I would say, still probably like a mile from home.
Yeah.
What else do you do? Or what?
Yeah, it's probably like message back. About to get grounded forever. If you hear from anybody else, get a hold of me right away.
I'm coming over.
Oh shit. Yes.
Yes. I am down for this as well. However, I'm sure the follow up to that's going to be. I don't know if my mom's going to be okay with that. And I'm sure Summer has her own. I don't really give I don't really care right now.
Adam's first. I have this idea of Adam's first like internal mental response being she could ground you too. Like you might just be caught in the ground blast radius.
Yeah, that's actually perfect. It's like, do you want to get grounded too?
Well, I'm coming over.
I'm coming. OMW. You're gonna get grounded too. OMW. What else do you do, Concord? Because this walk either flashes by or it's interminably long.
Yeah, it is sprinting time because I don't know how his parents got here, but if they drove, Adam does not want them to get home first.
Are you getting caught up on any of the other text messages or anything like that?
Yeah, let's do that.
Which ones? Because there's a lot. You're not gonna get caught up on everything.
Oh yeah.
And I can give you the gist if you like. I want to glance through all of Dad's or Jordan's will be obviously just the one.
Yeah, I was about to say Jordan. Actually, yeah. He's gonna like look at a couple of like her pictures just so that it's like, okay, mentally prepared myself for what's about to come.
She has like I don't know if you use Snapchat or not, but you can send the picture.
I don't.
Okay, so you can send pictures with the filters on, but you can also record. It actually works as a text thing too. But she's not obviously going to do that. But what she can do is she can hold down the picture taking button and it just takes video. So the picture of her is with the filter where her nose looks like a puppy dog nose, and if she sticks out her tongue, it does a big puppy dog tongue sticking out thing, and it kind of shifts her voice into helium mode. With the ears flopping and stuff like that. And so she'll occasionally do that where she's like decides to say something silly or, say something about, make a fart joke and laugh herself silly on the video and send that to you, this kind of thing. This one is, Mom told me that you went to Washington, D.C., where the president is, and you had to go with all your teachers and everything, and she said I got to pick between you bringing me back a stuffy and bringing me back a hat, and I don't want a hat because I already have a hat, so bring me back a stuffy. I would like a puppy, blah, and she does the thing so the puppy dog's tongue comes out and licks the screen. The cartoon tongue comes out and licks the screen.
Man, I don't have time to get a dog.
Well, she means like a stuffed puppy.
I know, but it's just like, I'm gonna get grounded forever, and she wants me to get her a dog.
True. I mean, yeah. If you're like, I don't have time to do this, that's entirely. That is both true and not true.
No, it's probably like now on the way. He's like half looking at the phone, half looking for some place to buy a stuffed dog.
I mean, you're kind of in a resident. It's not. It's obviously not all residential, but it's kind of like strip malls and like like little short little strip malls with like a Domino's in it and like a nail salon and a pet store and a
if there's
7-Eleven.
if there's like a Big Lots, Adam is probably like stepping inside for a minute.
They've got those. Kelly, what are those? Oh, wait, is she where I can hear? Yeah. Kelly, what are those? What are the stuffed animals with the really like creepy big eyes? What are those things?
They're not creepy, and they're called Beanie Boos.
Beanie Boos. So they're like Beanie Babies, but they have like really ridiculously oversized,
like
anime eyes.
Beanie Boos.
Beanie Boos. Somebody can Google it. I don't want to look at them right now, but you're welcome to Google a Beanie Boo. Those things are basically available basically anywhere. You walk into a 7-Eleven, there's a rack of them. Hang on. One need only do a Google image search for Beanie Boo puppy, and you will have a plethora of options. Oh my God, there's a husky.
Those eyes.
My daughter may never be the same. There's actually a husky one. She has a husky. She has a husky fixation. If we get the husky Beanie Boo, does that mean you'll let me get rid of that carnival one? Yes. Okay, that's acceptable. Anyway, all right. So you're just gonna like run into like a Big Lots or someplace
7-Eleven something,
and acquire.
I find the most funny would be Adam just going inside, being like, "Okay, get the dog, everything will be fine," and then walks out, and then except instead of it being just the dog, it's like 2 bags worth of stuff, and it's just like he's like flipping through the phone still, and he's just like, "What? No, I don't have time for this one too," and just keeps like, starts like almost Ferris Bueller running home.
Yeah, and you actually get like that. It's a Ferris Bueller like scene there where you're getting a text from your dad going ETA 4 minutes, and you're like, I don't think I can get there, and it's going to be very, very close. And you're still kind of flipping through the text, and it's like, Carrie's like, where, WTF are you? Seriously, why aren't you answering? 2 days later, your dad just texted me. How did he get my number? Raises all kinds of ethical questions with regards to the use of police databases.
I bet Adam's mom asked Carrie for her phone number whenever she showed up that one time.
Actually, yeah, let's retcon that a bit. Your mom just texted me. Where did she get my phone number? 45 question marks. Next text about 10 minutes later. Oh, right, I gave it to her. Never mind. And NVM. And then about another 10 minutes later, seriously, WTF are you? And there's, they're asking me like I know, and I don't know. Did you go to outer space without me? Another day later, did you go to outer space without me? And it's like alternating exclamation points and question marks.
I feel like the quick text back to that is just like, got lost in time and space. We'll explain later.
All right. you actually get one back, and you can tell this is like a texting under the desk kind of thing, and it's like the emoji with the really big wide eyes, like the shocked emoji,
Oh.
followed by okay, followed by WTF, followed by OMG, followed by like you are, you're in so much trouble. Grounded for life with a Y. She hashtags it. She actually hashtags the text, hashtag grounded for life with a Y.
Don't remind me.
And you're still running and reading this and running.
And running and running.
And running and running. Summer, how are you getting there?
I think that she knows where the MRA family house is already because Leo's been over there at least once.
Yeah.
So she can fly there and just kind of duck into an alley and walk out.
Well, Otto's been there.
Yeah, but no, Leo. I think Leo actually dropped by there physically to pick up Concord that one day.
Right.
And then Officer Amari had a talk with him about the whole Saul situation. So he's actually been there.
Yeah. Well, and I think, like I said, I think you guys like dropped off Concord at one point and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway. Yeah. So I mean, but it's kind of most of the menagerie kind of knows where what's that. But I'm wondering, like, are you flying? Are you busing? Are you biking? Are you?
She's gonna fly at high altitude and then basically like drop straight down to some like out of the way spot, and then maybe like hop a fence or do something that'll kind of break people who might have been trailing her.
Okay.
Like she's gonna go as a civilian,
like up to the house for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think she would have actually caught some sort of whiff at one point in time, because there's definitely been, like, the official Amari instructions are no superheroic appearances near the house.
Yeah, no superpowers near the house. Jason has to give like 48 hours notice before he shows up.
That's awesome. I keep expecting, I have to say this because it's a little bit jarring, I keep expecting Dave to like object, like open up his mic and object, and then go, actually no, that's fair. So we'll just imagine that somewhere Jason is going, hey, I mean, no, that's fine, but hey.
I understand, but I don't appreciate it.
Yeah. So you tumble into your, like, slip kind of into your backyard through, are you doing the actual Ferris wheel, like running through various people's backyards kind of thing?
Oh yeah, it's probably like, I can just be like, I can just imagine it's just like, hi Mr. and Mrs. Ross, hi Adam, how was Washington? Oh great, I'll tell you about it later, and just like,
nice,
half falls over a fence somewhere.
All right. You actually,
I'll put that back up later.
We have to, I mean, just because it's this kind of a call out, we have to like have a moment where there's like, you actually crossing in front of the Amari car, while Jordan is in the back, and it's like both of the parents looking daggers at you, and Jordan's in the back, but she's got her headphones on and she's singing like the Phineas and Ferb Gitchy Gitchy Goo song with her eye kind of headbanging, because Phineas and Ferb song's surprisingly catchy. Anyway, so she doesn't see it, but both of your parents, and you just keep running, or pause for a second and keep running.
I need Concord's life to be my life.
I just imagine that there is some sort of like sign language going on there, where it's just like, you hope now.
No, it's all eyes. But yeah, you're running. They're driving. The difference there between that and the actual Ferris Bueller thing which my daughter just ran in, flopped on the floor, and said, "I need Concord's life to be my life." And I don't know that she fully comprehends the horror of that statement, but it also reminds me we need to watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off because I think it's time. Anyway, you're about a house and a half away from home, and Summer does a superhero landing almost directly in front of you, in the Kachowskis' like backyard, in the middle of the lawn.
And yeah, I imagine Adam is just like making like crazy hand motions with his one free hand as he's like.
For a second, you think it's Link because it's like the white armor and stuff, but as she's standing up, like it's all like kind of folding away, and you're like, it's Arya? It's okay, that's Summer. Didn't know she could do that with the shapeshifty. Anyway, kind of cool. So you're making frantic hand motions. What now?
Making frantic hand motions towards the house, and just like not even stopping for chit chat.
You just run by her and like, no, go around the front.
All right, she will give chase.
Are you following him or going like, cause he's like waving you out towards the street area?
I'll take instructions from him then, and yeah, I'll go to the street.
Okay. All right. So you are all right, so you kind of, as you're running in through the back door for the backyard and down the hallway, you hear the garage door running. You don't know whether it's going up or going down, but it's close. You've got about a minute. What do you do to kind of prep for all this?
TV on, local news, sit down, bags are in room, just literally open door, throw them inside, and then just plop down onto the couch
So they're empty. Yeah. They're empty, but they're laying on your bed or whatever.
Oh no, I mean the bags that he was carrying from the store.
Oh, the store bags. Gotcha.
I
thought you meant like luggage.
That would take much more time than he has right now.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? This seems like the perfect time. Adam cheats.
Okay. How does Adam cheat?
Concord constructs in the room, pulling out luggage, and him just tossing the bag and it bubbling and floating into the room to get put away.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool.
And if his mom found out, he would also be grounded for life.
Nice. All right.
But you can only be grounded for one lifetime.
The GM is currently making a mental note to prove that wrong at some point, but
I'm sure you will, but I'm just saying, as far as Adam's concerned, it's
we've established time travel and alternate timelines. I can ground you on several timelines simultaneously.
No, Concord can clone himself. She'll be like, clone yourself, and he's grounded too.
I don't even know what that is, and it's grounded. All right, so the door, from the front door, kind of you have the garage is attached, but there isn't actually a door in from the garage. Kind of walk along the front steps, come in through the front door. There is no shouting hello or anything like that. You just hear the pounding feet of approaching sibling. And then she's in the middle of the room, and she's not in the middle of the room. She's in the middle of the doorway going. What she shouts is, "Where's my puppy?" But then she runs up and tackle hugs you. So you get the profoundly mixed message of affection and wanting a hug and "Where's my stuff?" That is the province of all 6-year-olds greeting a family member who has returned home, who might have been bringing a present with them. Your parents do not immediately appear in the doorway as they might had you actually gone to DC, so they can watch this loving reunion and smile fondly from the doorway. They are nowhere to be seen.
I'm really dead.
Did you see the president? Did you punch him?
Yes.
Shush. No commentary from the peanut gallery.
Probably like, no, I did. It was from really far away.
Cool. Did you see the Washington Monument? Is it super tall?
It is very tall.
Awesome. Did you see the Lincoln Monument?
He is really big.
Did you see the one with the dog?
Which one with the dog?
The monument with the dog. There's a guy and he's sitting with a dog. I don't know which one it is.
Me, the player, doesn't know which one that is, but
wait, what was that?
I said me, the player, doesn't know which one that is. I am not up to date with my DC monuments.
No, I'm not either. I just know that I happen to have a 7-year-old in the house who demanded that when his older sister went to DC, that she take a picture of the monument with the dog, where the guy is sitting next. It's a Teddy Roosevelt monument. Of course it is. He didn't know that at the time. He just knew there was a monument of a president who was sitting next to a dog, and he found that president to be superior to all others because they had a dog with them. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm just throwing out random crap for you to deal with from a 6-year-old.
Oh yeah, Adam's like, I don't think we made that stop.
She's bouncing up. Yeah, she's crawled up on the bed, and are the bags with the stuffies and stuff? What else did you get? If you said you grabbed a bunch of stuff, what else is there?
Oh, I imagine people have asked him for a bunch of things.
Okay.
While he has been on his imaginary trip to DC, and it is probably like all sorts of weird little tchotchkes just from inside, and it's just like, yeah, this is from the hotel lobby.
Yeah, because
like,
to be perfectly honest, a teenager bringing back souvenirs brings back shit souvenirs. I mean, as a general rule. They just don't bring back very good souvenirs. They're not good at it. I say this as a teenager who went on trips and came back with, let me think. I went to Europe for 2 weeks, and I'm pretty sure that the souvenir I brought home to my father was a switchblade from Switzerland. Like, that was what I thought would be an appropriate, like, gift to my parents. Best of all, since it was a switchblade and those were actually illegal, I had to smuggle it home inside of my saxophone, so that the metal detector wouldn't see it.
You are setting an excellent example.
Yeah.
For your family.
Right I am the best father. Anyway. All right. So she is of course, she loves her puppy, very much, and she runs out to show it to mom and dad, with you slowly coming in tow. And your mom is doing things in the kitchen. Nothing, just doing things. Moving things around on the counter and anything like that. If you don't pay too close attention, it looks like she's like getting something ready. She's not. She's like moving one thing over here, moving something else. Back. Goes to the refrigerator, pulls something out, goes to the pantry, pulls something out, puts the thing that she got out of the refrigerator back in, moves the thing from the pantry. She's just, she's shell gaming everything in the kitchen. Your dad is leaning against like sort of that, that look through counter that you can sit at, kind of from the family room that's actually looking into the kitchen, but he's turned around. It's kind of just, his eyes are looking at the TV, but that's really all that's going on there. How was DC? He says.
It was our nation's capital.
He kind of, your mom sets something down on the counter fairly hard. Going to go check on the laundry, and she heads out of the room. Jordan Natters. Can I change the channel? This is boring. Can I change the channel to one of my shows? please.
I am deferring to the father on this one.
Yes, yes, as long as I'm going to, well, I'm going to go someplace else so I don't have to watch it. And she's like, yay, and goes for a run. Right about then, Summer, do you wait? Because you saw the car pull up. Do you wait? Do you knock? Do you ring the bell? What do you?
Like, I assume they're going to be like
The
getting
door
in
is, the front door isn't closed. It's like the screen door. Well, no, it's cold out. It would have been closed, but I'm processing June weather. So
You would have her for a few minutes out there and then rock or ring the bell. Yeah.
right. So yeah, he waits until Jordan's got the TV settled. He sort of automatically asks if she wants a snack. She says no, thank you. She's showing the TV. She's explaining the TV show to her new puppy, and he heads back towards it looks like he's heading back towards your room. And right about then, before it gets too crazy. Well, no, we'll let you go back there before Summer jumps in. So, do you take the coward's way out and sit down and get some nice quality time with Jordan, or do you go back? You're safe as long as your sister is awake.
No. That would. Adam has definitely figured out one or two things about facing his fears here, so.
The explosion will only be greater if you bottle it for longer.
It's like, there's probably like that mutter under his voice. It's like, you worried about Sable Star for like 8 months, or for like 2 months, and when you finally fought her, she wasn't that bad. This won't be that bad either. Just keep telling yourself that.
Just keep telling yourself that. Okay, so your dad doesn't go into your room. He waits in the hallway and sort of motions you in. Doesn't come in all the way. He's like in the doorway. Souvenir was a nice touch. How long ago did you get back? Or find the on switch for your phone?
Adam is just going to be like, so, this is going to sound really weird, but I've been gone for like 13 hours.
You've been gone for 10 days. And where did you go without telling us?
So the future, I didn't leave the state.
When I said that there were, technically you didn't really go very far outside the state limits. When I said that you had to let us know before you went very far away from the city, I didn't realize I needed to discuss timelines. What do you mean you went to the...
So, I'm going to explain this to you as well as I understand it, and I don't understand it well, but a guy came back from the past in order to assassinate us so that he could steal technology that Leo has, except for it was not really bad guys, but he had really bad plans. And so we wound up in the future, and we had to go fight off an evil version of Jason, which I know this is going to sound really weird, but in that timeline, he went evil.
No,
and that was a big shock to everybody.
No, that makes sense. That was your dad. He thinks about it for like a second. He's like, no, that makes sense. That part makes sense. That tracks. I can't remember. I feel like when Vector got captured and Aegis showed up, like there were some cops. You know, your dad wasn't around for that one. He was around for the Sable Star thing. Um, and you just decided to track them back to the future without telling anybody? I mean, I'm not an expert, but I know enough about this city to know that time travel is not simple.
It's a lot simpler than I thought it was going to be.
You were gone for 10 days.
I
We
got
had
tackled through time?
What what does that even mean? What is what
Well, so we were supposed to come back exactly when we left. Except for on the way back, somebody like broke through the side of the time tunnel and I got pushed out. And I'm really worried about everyone else too, because they should have been back 10 days ago too. And has there been any missing persons reports put in for them?
he's like he's opened his mouth to say something and he literally like there's so much frustration and just utter disbelief in the fact that you're trying to make this be normal that he's like his eyelids are actually kind of fluttering from trying to process whatever is about to come out of his mouth. Um, you you've never quite seen him struggle like this, like just be at his wit's end. That's not true. When Jordan was about 11 months old, she got like unexpectedly colicky for about a week and a half, and it canceled a family vacation. So he had taken the time off, and everyone was not working, but nobody was resting and stuff. And about 6 days into it, with her, as far as you were able to tell, never sleeping. This would have been, you would have been about 6, something like that. And there was a point in there where she was crying and your mother was trying to figure out what she should run to the store and get. And you were asking a question and he was trying to figure out who to answer. And he was so tired and his eyes were so sunken that he just couldn't process any of it. And he was pointing at you and trying to say your name to say, let me wait and let me talk to your mother, but he couldn't think of your name. And it was just like it was stuck in his head and it was making his, and that is the last time you've seen him this like vapor locked out of sheer frustration and lack of ability to process.
I think Adam's going to try something here.
Well, it's either Adam's going to try something or this is exactly when Summer's doorbell rings.
Well, if it ends bad or good, I think that might be a nice time for this to switch. But
Okay.
Adam's just going to be like,
okay,
Dad, assassins from the future came for me, and everybody was super worried that more time stuff was going to happen. And I don't think my life's ever going to be normal. So I'm trying to make the best of this. And I know this is really bad, but I really didn't want to do this.
Okay. I'm down with everything you're saying. It feels like you're pulling a move on him. What are you aiming at here?
When you openly empathize with someone.
I have to look. Is this a
Empathize.
Empathize. Ooh, is this an adult move?
This is my adult move.
So empathy. I want. So I like where you're going with this, but with the empathize thing, that's stating how you feel, and kind of opening up to him. But the empathize thing is really kind of acknowledging how
Well,
how
that
it's
was
been
kind of
for
what I was
him.
trying to swing into it with
Swing
the whole
into?
like,
Okay.
this is frustrating. This is weird, but I don't think my life's ever really going to be normal anymore. No,
I mean, I'll take it. I'll take it as a stab in that general direction. You're trying to get him on your side as much as anything. Empathize would probably be, I mean, a full blown emphasize. He's young. Is kind of along the lines of, you know, I know how scared this had to be. I was scared too, kind of like thing. But
ooh, that's actually probably good.
I mean, just in general, like kind of a thing. I mean, if it's your dad, it's like I know this was scary. It was scary for me too, but I had to do it to protect us. You know, kind of a thing. Because your dad would get that.
Oh yeah, and I was kind of trying to swing into that with the whole,
You're being very open about where you stand on the situation. It isn't like I had a big adventure and now I'm coming back saying, "Look how cool my adventure was." I'm coming back going, "This all sucked and I didn't want to do it in the first place, but I had to." Which is, yeah, we're about halfway there. Actually, whether or not you actually get to that part where you effectively empathize, I think depends on how you roll. Whether or not he even lets you really get that far. So let's have that. Let's have that mundane.
I'm going to ask the silly question right now. Does Adam have influence over his dad?
I don't.
Not right now would be a perfectly acceptable answer.
I don't. I mean, your dad cares.
10 days ago, maybe.
your dad cares a lot about you, but I think for the way if I'm going to simplify influence down to the simplest thing, it's I listen to the things that they say because what they say really like can change my point of view on things. And I don't think he quite sees Adam like that at this point. He's not quite like, he loves his son. He respects his son. He's not quite at that point where he's like, my son gives me actually good insight into the world that changes the way I see things. And even if so, maybe he did 10 days ago, but not today. I think is also a legitimate thing. So I don't think you have influence.
So I got a set.
Now you have a goal. On a hit, they must reveal a vulnerability or mark a condition. Okay. Reveal a vulnerability.
Yeah, what I'm hoping for this is for this to turn from I am super angry to you to more father-son, heart-to-heart, you've scared your whole family here, Basically, I'm trying to take the fight out of him here a little bit.
No, yes, I get that.
If that helps with the positioning of how this works.
Yeah.
Out.
Yeah. This, you know this has been hard, but we're proud of you. We have always, as much as we've struggled, we've always known, I've always known what was going on, even if I didn't like it. You were on the news, you were in the sky, you were right above me while I was trying to do crowd control. We didn't you were just gone, and there was nothing we could do about it. And I had to think about how long I was going to get before I had to explain to your sister that you were never coming back. And I've always worried that I was going to have that talk. But it became something I was actually having to put together in my head. So,
Holy crap, I'm taking a powerful blow from this.
I was going to say, I mean, it is a 7. It seems fair that there's a little bit of blowback here. He is going to take afraid. He hasn't let himself take afraid because he's been holding on to angry.
Ooh.
But he is going to take afraid. Actually, I don't know if he does take, I'm not sure if he does take that. I think he, this is really the vulnerability thing. The vulnerability that he has here, and it's obviously a superhero vulnerability. He's not a superhero. His vulnerability here is that he just feels helpless in the face of everything going on in your life. And it isn't, I've alluded to this in the past with your dad, but your life is not like your childhood is not like your dad's childhood. Forget the superhero thing. You're at a good school. You're at a really great school. You're like 2-3 years accelerated on the academic program. Your dad's a cop. You know, he's really good at being a cop, but he's not, taking AP math at 15 and never was. So even if you had never had this happen with the concordance, your dad would feel out of his depth with some of the problems and challenges that his son is facing. Add to that this, and the simple fact of the matter is he doesn't know how he can really do anything here, and he's constantly having to consider terrible conversations that he's never had to think about before. But yeah, I'm down with take a powerful blow, because I was about to say I feel like you take guilty, but honestly take a powerful blow feels like more of a rock you on your heel and see what happens kind of a thing.
Oh yeah.
So roll conditions, see what we got.
All right.
Get an 8. Okay.
So I am definitely. So.
Man, those 7 to 9s are rough. Sometimes I would almost rather get a 10 with this move. 7 to 9s are rough.
Oh no, all of them are rough.
Yeah, all of them are rough, but the 7 to 9s are some of the choices in 7 to 9 are less appealing to me.
Yeah, Adam is definitely going to take guilty and insecure.
Guilty and insecure. Okay. So this
He
rock.
He is not thinking straight, and he is not going to be able to keep his dad's words from hurting it, or like feeling what his dad's
Yeah, exactly. Feeling what his dad, because the dad is not. He's not trying to hurt him, but he's being very, very straight with where he is, and you get some insight. I mean, one of the toughest things for a kid when you get up to the teenage years is just to realize my folks are human and they have human problems, and their crap sucks just as much as my crap sucks, kind of thing. And then to realize that in this case, you're doing that, or at least the stuff around you is what's causing his reaction, even if it's not really your fault, it's still related to you, is really a shock to the system. People always say, teenagers don't realize that they're not immortal, but they don't really ponder the fact that their parents aren't either. Not very well. Conceptually, yes, that kind of thing. So yeah, the fact that this is rocking your dad is a blow. And right about then, there's the doorbell. Your dad lets out a very uncharacteristic curse. and kind of calls down the hallway, "Don't answer that, Jordan." What do you do? Because you probably know who that is.
Oh, I know exactly who that is. And yeah, I think right now is a good time to escape this situation. So he's just like, he just does that general call out of, "I'll get it," and he walks over to the door.
Were you expecting someone?
Ooh.
I'll remind you that Summer has texted you saying I'm coming over.
Oh, I know, and
Yeah.
I saw
So
you land.
If you need supporting evidence, that's all I'm saying.
No, you like super. Yeah, he's not gonna forget. It's just that, I mean, you superhero landed right in front of him. It's just Dad being like, "You've been gone for 10 days and you set up a play date." No, that's not exactly where it is, but
Yeah, but it's like no, it's like I think Adam's just gonna like as he starts to walk away, he like feels his dad like looking at him, and so he glances back. He's just like, other people's families are worried about that kid.
I just horrified my daughter. Hurry up, get ready for bed. Hurry up and get ready for bed. All right. Okay. So, yeah. Your dad doesn't. I mean, I think he feels like there was a moment there where he started to realize, you start to see a little bit on his face of, the impact that the words had, kind of a thing. But then that all kind of goes away with the doorbell, and then you're going out to get it. He's back to being somewhat frustrated by this whole thing. But yeah, I mean, if for no other reason than the fact that you've got the insecure, really good reason to go, yeah, I need somebody else here right now, kind of to help me out with this.
Yeah. So, open door, and it is probably like that saddest kicked puppy dog look possible whenever he like looks up at Summer.
Oh my God. Can I share this? I have a slide thing in Roll20 where I just arranged all of the condition cards where it talks about like what the penalty is and how you can get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
You guys haven't seen it in ages probably. But it was up at some point in time and somebody put graffiti on it. Way back. Way back.
Oh, you better not.
Way back. Check this.
You had better not.
Look at this.
You had better not.
Look at the guilty card.
Oh, I understand. I remember this card. I remember when James wrote that.
God, that is fantastic. I mean, whether or not it's fantastic as an actual idea, but I mean, for it to be Dr. Infinity right there, I mean, practically, come here, I gotta show you this. James wrote this on a card, what, 40 sessions ago?
That's not okay.
Did you hear her?
Uh-huh.
That's not okay. Anyway, I just had
That's currently relevant.
That is currently incredibly relevant. That is currently, and according to Kaylee, currently not okay. Okay, so Summer, door opens. Concord is there looking
thoroughly defeated,
stricken.
She's just gonna kneel and give him a big hug.
The door opens and he's standing there with a hashtag grounded for life hanging over his head in the air. Drop to her knees and give him a big hug. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Adam, do you say anything? Summer, do you say anything?
I will let him figure this out, and and just be huggy until he tells me he doesn't need it.
Oh, it is probably like the sort. Yeah, he is probably like hugging right back. It is just like the sort of whisper in the ear is just like, "Oh, they thought I was gone."
Well, she figured that out too. I'm going to throw dice for comfort and support if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah!
While that's happening, yeah, yeah.
Does she have influence over you?
I was about to say Arya does, so I would say yeah.
That's an interesting.
Spend team on this, and we'll be okay.
Oh yeah, we will spend one of our copious team, unless we, with time passed and the team pool cleared.
Well, okay, we've still got some. One way or the other, we've still got some. I'm gonna steal the ones that are under Link, just cause, and I'll get it probably reset down or something like that. But we'll worry about that in a little bit. But yeah, we'll get one of them out of here. Probably a reset since we're actually talking about a different team composition entirely from the ones that built up that stuff. But
I think we automatically get the team at the start of session anyway. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you've
got like
Thursday.
You've got like 2 regardless, so you've certainly got some to spend. I'm just gonna kind of clean this up because certainly that whole adventure has reset a bit. Okay, so I didn't see the. Okay, we're 6, pushed up to a 7. Comfort and support.
They hear you mark potential, clear condition, or shift labels. He hugged back, so that's opening up.
Oh yeah,
hug back.
I'm sure that whole, they thought I was gone part probably also qualifies. So
she knows exactly what that feels like. So yeah.
So we are clearing a condition right now.
Which one? Because you had
insecure
angry already. Insecure. Okay, so at least you've got one friend kind of clear insecure kind of thing.
But he still feels really bad about what he's done.
Which is sort of the point. So you kind of, as you guys are separating, you realize that Jordan is actually standing right there as you got, like had come up kind of beside and was just waiting for the hug to end. And she's looking up at Summer. And did you go on a trip with my brother? He brought me a pup. He brought me a puppy back.
Oh, can you show me?
Yeah, she's holding it up.
Ooh, do you have a name for him yet?
No, it's on the tag. Can you tell me what it says? It's on the tag. And she turns the butt around to like the little kind of thing.
I will read it for him.
I don't know. You have to decide. You have to come up with a cute puppy name now. I'm gonna make you do it because I'm not gonna look it up. Either that or Google Beanie Boo puppy and find out because they're all categorized by names. There's probably an ironically appropriate one too. And his dad is kind of coming in from the back of the house and saying, "Come on in." And he's kind of looking. He's like, "Is it?" Because he has seen Arya at the training session?
Yeah, he oversaw that, in fact, so he should know very well who she is.
But
Summer
was
will
Summer
introduce
there?
her. She was not.
So
she will immediately realize what's going on. She's like, "That was my sister. My name's Summer. Pleased to meet you."
Come on in, Summer. You have a perfect name for coming in out of the cold. One sec. What was his name? Tuffy. So there's one of the puppies with. It looks like it's a Beanie Boo Rottweiler puppy. You'll see it if you go and look at that page. Named Tuffy. Tuffy the Rottweiler. The Beanie Boo Rottweiler.
It's adorable.
It is adorable. They're all adorable and yet creepy. Summer, why don't you come back in? Did you go on the trip with Adam?
I did not, but I was talking to the teachers earlier about that trip, and I just dropped by to say hi and welcome back to Adam.
Well, why don't you come in? I think we're getting ready to have supper. We'd love to have you stay and get us caught up. I didn't think the school. I thought all the teachers that were involved in this weren't around to talk to. So please come in. We may order some. We might. I might. I'm not sure if my. I don't know if we're cooking tonight. I might be making my famous call to the Chinese place. But please come in.
All right, she'll come
And
in.
we're going to stop right there with the door closing behind you like a tomb. No, but we'll stop with you guys right there, and possibly Sable Star about to crash through the roof. No, I'm kidding. She'll be here soon enough. Good, cool. Welcome to the Mario household.
What could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? Well,
good job, Joyce. You didn't ratchet up the tension at all.
I did what?
Yeah, you ratcheted up the tension completely.
Oh, okay. All right. I was like, I didn't? I feel kind of bad. I thought I was really going to make things uncomfortable there.
No, there was quite a bit of sarcasm there.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, good. Yeah, no, my next thing is keeping back in the, like, oh, good. Summer's there. Adam's there. Dad's tense. Mom is still in the bedroom. Jordan is blissfully unaware, and there is a not to be disobeyed rule about no superhero powers anywhere near the house. What could possibly go wrong? So, there we go. I like it. I like the setup so far. I like Summer's sort of first interaction there. We didn't quite get into. There's some stuff I want to do with Summer too that I didn't quite get to. So I apologize for that, Bill. I got a little bit wrapped up in Concord's drama, but
oh no, there's a lot going on there that
yeah.
we need to get to.
Yeah, I've got some. I'm gonna stop.
Well, can you summarize what you had in mind, or?
Let's talk real quick about the end of session things, and then I'm going to stop recording because I don't want. I'll let it be a surprise for people. Geez. End of session. Hey, Concord, are you closer to the team, farther away from the team, or more into your own image of yourself?
I think.
If Summer didn't have influence before.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's closer to the team and going to Summer.
Shocking.
I know.
Summer?
I would say closer to Adam, obviously, because he showed back up and
he's finally home.
Got welcomed into the family and everything's good.
Yeah, Dad's actually being pretty gracious. Okay, so good two-person one-shot here, or re-intro thing. Very cool, very cool.